Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Jesse Zhao. I'm Assistant Professor of Directing in the School of Theater and Dance in the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts here at Texas Tech University. Just to reiterate Nikki's welcome and thanks to all the organizers of this event and to all of you for joining us this afternoon. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting time we're spending together at the 6th Annual International Arts and Cultural Symposium. So our program this afternoon will have four performances followed by a panel discussion. There will be a brief intermission, and then we'll come back and we'll have a very sort of interesting opportunity to observe some of our artists in conversation with each other through some improvisations that they'll do after the intermission. So let's begin, please, by welcoming a session about jazz music led by Professor Stephen Jones and Dr. Ben Haugland. It's my great pleasure to introduce these two. Professor Jones is an associate professor and director of jazz studies at Texas Tech University. As a saxophonist, composer, arranger, and jazz educator, he's made quite a career for himself. Holds degrees from the Crane School of Music, the University of North Texas, and in 2014 completed his coursework towards a Doctor of Musical Arts degree in Jazz Studies from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. He's performed internationally with many recognized artists and also serves as a clinician throughout the US and Canada. Dr. Haugland is also an extremely accomplished musician. In August 2012, he completed a Doctor of Arts degree in Jazz Studies from the University of Northern Colorado. He has received 9 Downbeat Awards, including Best Instrumental Jazz Soloist and Best Original Song. As a master's student at the University of North Texas, he played and toured with the world-renowned UNT 1 O'Clock Lab Band. He was a featured soloist on their album Lab 2009, which received a Grammy nomination for Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album. Dr. Haugland is an assistant professor of jazz at TTU. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
Johnny Mercer and Victor Scherzinger called I Remember You. One of the things we do as jazz musicians is we take these songs that are sometimes drawn from just the popular music repertoire, things that are being played on the radio. We don't necessarily play them for the song itself, although that's part of it. What we use them for are vehicles for improvisation. And a lot of the canon for jazz musicians throughout the history of jazz music has been drawn from popular music. That happened to be a popular song that was also a song that appeared in a movie. Some of the other songs that we play come from Broadway musicals, which then became popular songs that were sung by popular singers. And jazz musicians are attracted to not only the melody, but the harmonic progression or the harmonic framework of the song, the chords. And so what we often do is we'll play the melody, like what Dr. Haugland and I just did. To break down the performance a little bit, he played a little intro on the solo piano, which was sort of on the 5 chord of what the song is in to prepare us for the tonic key. And then we present the melody more or less as it was written by the composer, which is, and the lyricist, although we don't, as an instrumentalist, we don't use the lyrics. However, a stylized version of the melody, a version of the melody that we've personalized somewhat through rhythmic variation or some slight changes in the melodic content. And then what we do is we continue on and improvise new melodies, but using the same harmonic structure or the harmonic framework of the song. And that's really what it's all about for the jazz musician, is to be able to get a chance to try and improvise new melodic material over that, and that's what we call soloing. So I presented the melody, improvised, I think we took 3 times through that form. The form of the song, of this song, happens to be 36 bars. And so I just said, we're each going to take 3 iterations of the harmonic progression and improvise over it. And then Ben did the same thing on the piano. We present the melody again, and then maybe play a little tag at the end to bring it to a close. So the whole performance is pretty much improvised, with the exception that we're using an existing melodic and harmonic structure from a song that was written to base our performance on. And that's kind of how this works in this music. The next song that we're going to play is also drawn from the same, sometimes they call it the jazz canon or the Tin Pan Alley sources, which is where back in the 30s, 20s and 30s, there were typically songwriters were not necessarily the performers. Somebody would write a song, and then a performer would pick it up and perform it. The song was not necessarily exclusively associated with a single performing artist like it is today. When you hear a song by Taylor Swift, and that's her song, and anybody else that does it is a cover. But back in those days, we had people just writing songs for a variety of reasons, like I said, movies or musicals. And then one of many artists might decide to record and perform and record the song. So this next one is a beautiful ballad that is very common among jazz players, and it is entitled "My Ideal." common practice of jazz musicians is to not only play an existing song by a composer and improvise over the chord progressions to create a new melody, but to actually compose a new melody over the over that existing chord progression. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with a very old song, jazz standard called "If It Happened to You." It goes something like this. That's the first phrase of the song. And many musicians play that song as it is, but Dexter Gordon, who was a famous jazz tenor saxophonist in the hard bop era, decided he wanted to continue to improvise over that framework, but he wanted to play a different melody. So he composed a new melody over that framework. Later, musicologists coined the term contrafact, although that's not what Dexter Gordon called it. And a contrafact for the practice of writing a new melody, actually composing a new melody over the existing chord progression. So that's what he did with this last song we're going to play, and it's called Fried Bananas. You can't copyright chord progressions, only melodies and lyrics.